And we are live. Welcome everyone to another Ace Tourney live stream. And I am running on no sleep. So, yeah, we in for a good one today. I'm running on like maybe an hour and 15-minute of power nap. And, yep, doesn't bode well for this or commentary that I still have to do. So, gonna be a fun one. I'm being run off the coffee right now, and that's about it. And given that my brain ain't working great because no sleep, don't know why my body didn't want to sleep last night. Maybe it's because I slept 12 hours the day before, but what was I gonna say? I don't remember exactly where we left off. I remember we were in the trial. I don't remember exactly where we left off. So this is gonna be a fun one because I don't remember half of what happened. Very little sleep. Don't remember what happened. We're in for one. Let's get into it. Let me get the in-game audio going. I'm just hoping the game wakes me up. That's why I need. A boy Edgeworth. I do remember Edgeworth being here. I don't entirely remember everything. Remember the surveillance footage. They made the argument that Athena's in there. Going back over just to remind myself. I will say it's interesting that they tell us there's the Japanese theater mask. Because I don't really see why they would tell us that. Outside of the fact that it's there, but, you know. Just, you know, I had to remind myself of all the evidence. I might as well. What did we do? Oh, was the... I think that might have been the objection back and forth for a bit. Alright. So it was... I'm remembering. Quick quick little things are coming back to me. Well played, Mr. Wright. You've made your point abundantly clear. I can see that it wasn't the defendant inside that rolling case, but the robot. Alright, what's going on here? It's never good when he plays things this straight. Does the prosecution withdraw its claim that the defendant was carried from the scene? No, Your Honor. My claim hasn't changed.
Objection!
But Ponko and Miss Sykes couldn't have both been inside that case. Oh, we get the back and forth again. They're volleying it up. The notion that the case was used to carry Miss Sykes was Miss Blackwell's theory. I have been of a different opinion from the outset. Now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory. Thanks to the defense. Edgeworth, he's been one step ahead of me this whole time. In that case, how do you propose the defendant left the crime scene? Simple. The footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more... No, he is not about to say what I think he's gonna say. He's holding his arm in front of his body, as if he were holding something, or someone. That's hardly evidence. I have proof. The surcoat, Professor Blackwell. I keep saying professor, and I don't know why. The surcoat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing. The victim's blood was found on the front of it, and the stain had a highly distinctive shape. Dusk, welcome to the stream, man. Since you popped in a tad bit after I said it, I am running on, like, no sleep, so... Today's going to be very interesting, both for commentary, because I haven't done that yet, and for this. Also, because of both reasons, commentary and me running on very little sleep. I don't know if we're going the full 3 hours. We might not. A blood stain with a distinctive shape. Please continue, Mr. Please continue, Prosecutor Edgeworth. 7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item, of which there is only one in the world, a special pair of headphones made just for her. Darren, on the stream, man. Damn, everybody popping in at the same time. You're all late this time. Ha! How's it feel? I'm not funny when I'm running on no sleep. We're still late. I was not. You may have slept. I'm running on an hour. Did you just put 8 o'clock there? I didn't start at 8 o'clock. Because it wasn't 8 o'clock. See? I may be running on no sleep, but I saw that. Uh-huh. G-Man, welcome to the stream, man. How have you been? It's been a while. You doing a Bakushino run? I don't know what that is exactly, but... Whew. God, this coffee ain't doing nothing right now for me. Have we streamed Steins Gate? Jaren, throw up the emote. Throw up the emote. Do it. Do it. Give this man the proof he needs that we have streamed Steins Gate. Have we streamed Steins Gate? The only thing we haven't streamed of Steins Gate is watching the anime, which we will do at some point. What's the cool stuff? We went to Japan a couple weeks ago. Woo-hoo. Wait, time out. What? No, they're not. Did you find said time machine? Because I'm still looking for it. Well, I know the next thing I'm saving up for. Yay! Okay, August 20th. Got it. Got it. Oh, also, speaking of August, I'll be on vacation the first week of August, so no streams that week. We do still need to play through the dating sim. But I still need to find that damn fucking time machine. No Myrtle Beach stream. You get no Myrtle Beach stream, mainly because I'm with other people. If it was me on my own, maybe. Maybe, possibly, probably not, but... Yeah, it's the only place I go on vacation. How would you not be right? You've been here for how many years, Darren? You know where I go on vacation. There's only been 1 year I've gone elsewhere, and that was Tampa. Go see for the crabs. What if I don't want crabs? In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones, and then... You didn't tell me what kind of crabs, Jaren. I'm just gonna point that out. You just said they got crabs in OC. I don't want crabs. I'm just saying. I still have to find my time machine. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know I wrote a new version of the game. That's crazy. I can't believe I wrote a new version of Steins Gate. Can you believe that? I added stuff to the game I wrote. Didn't even realize it. Like, past me or future me, whichever one it is, doing crazy things over there. Was imprinted into Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp. A most gruesome stamp indeed. Blackwell carried Miss Sykes, who had been hit by splatter, away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena Sykes was, without question, present at the crime scene. And that concludes the prosecution's argument. Yeah! Order! If the defendant was indeed at the scene, it deepens the suspicion against her. Objection! Well, we've also shown that the robot was there at the scene as well. Objection! I hope you're not making the ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer. I don't really think that, no. But you can't say the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time? What's the police force doing? What is the police force doing? They're not questioning the robots in the building? What does the police force get paid for? This is a waste of our good tax money. No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was considered unrelated to the case. No gumshoe equals bad police work. Got that right. If Gumshoe had been on this case, the robot would have been questioned, your mother would have been questioned, the dog would have been questioned. Fuck, they would have questioned the scooter that Cosmos was on. Gumshoe would have questioned everybody. Man, I miss that man. Get him back out here. The police force hasn't been the same. But, as it turned out, the robot was actually integrally related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Ponko to the stand. Yeah, that's right. We just called a clanker to the stand. Oh, robot witness! What is the future coming to? Order! Order in the court! Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think about this? I need some other input because I don't know how to feel about this. AI's taking everybody's jobs, even the witnesses' jobs at this point. Mr. Wright has called all manner of witnesses to the stand over the years. So why not a robot? Nothing surprises me anymore with him. Very well. I will allow the witness. Bailiff, please summon the robot named Ponko. Witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is not Witness. My name is Ponko. Yes, I realize that. But when you are at the witness stand, you are the witness. No, I'm not. I'm Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko. What an utterly inflexible little robot. You're the last person who should be calling anybody inflexible. He summoned him normal, special, maybe synchro summon? Let's see, I'm pretty sure it was just a normal summon because this thing's definitely a tuner monster. You remind me of my grandchild who just learned his own name. Oh, how precious. He still gets very confused when I say it. What was his name again? I now imagine just the judge goes off into the Professor Oak dialogue where he's just like, are you a boy or are you a girl? This is my grandson who just learned his name. What was it again? He's been your rival since you were young. All right, Ponko. I'm going to ask you some questions. Questions? You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions? I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Metis Sykes. It was 7 years ago, on the 7th of October, around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab. Certainly. Just one moment. Searching data. Search complete. Yes, I was there in the robotics lab. It would seem this robot's testimony is necessary to this case after all. This is great! I just knew Ponko must have seen something important. A murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable. The judge seems ready to adopt Ponko as another grandchild. So, little Ponko, do you think you could give us your testimony today? We're about to get robot testimony. What is this court system? I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. After I charged up, I was cleaning the room, and Mr. Simon came in. And then an error occurred. There is no data after that point. Well, it sounds like the defendant was, without question, at the scene. However, it doesn't appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder. I hate to say that I agree with Edgeworth here, but I agree with Edgeworth here, given the testimony. I disagree. This testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. What? At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that this witness is still a machine. Being a robot is understanding and Being a robot, its understanding and capacity to express itself are limited. So what are you suggesting? The witness's statement needs to be interpreted. For example, the terms hugged and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child. They don't, but... Yes, what this witness's statements are telling us is that the defendant stabbed the victim with the murder weapon during this moment. What? Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse? Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly, but I don't know what they said. Athena is usually so quiet, so I was surprised. spoke very loudly. We can interpret this to mean they argued. I see. Murder after a heated argument. And then the victim fell down. I agree that it does sound like a reasonable interpretation. However, Ponko doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that. When I am recharging, I go into sleep mode. But I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory. I remember everything. Come fight me, you old bastard. I imagine Ponko starts throwing hands. You may as well admit defeat now. Right. A cross-examination would be useless. Don't be ridiculous. A cross-examination is never useless. Until now. Think about it. Robots don't lie. This robot is both an important witness and valuable evidence at the same time. Nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination. I see you haven't changed. You never were one to worry about wasting time. Very well. Even if it may be a waste of time, you may proceed, Mr. Wright. I'll show you both just how fruitful any cross-examination can be. I'm about to fucking cross-examine a robot. What on earth is happening?
Hold it.
Your regular recharge? What is that exactly? I have to refill my battery's power or else I stop working. I go to the lab to do that. So that recharge occurred around 2 p.m., around the time of the murder. That's right. I go every day at 2 p.m. Okay.
Hold it.
Hugged her? Huh? Which Edgeworth took to mean stabbed her with a weapon. You said the two of them were talking before Miss Sykes hugged her mother. Is that right? Yes, they were talking very loudly, but I couldn't tell what they were saying. Couldn't tell? Even though they were speaking so loudly? I'm only allowed to listen to voices that are directed at me. Hey, you know, that's a positive. That's how we know that Ponko not gonna steal our identity. We can talk to Ponko about anything, but if we don't want to talk to Ponko, Ponko ain't fucking listening. We now know that. That's good shit to know. That is good shit to know. If it listened to every voice, it would be little better than a mobile eavesdropper. Well, that explains why some of Ponko's testimony is so vague. It's a shame that our little friend wasn't listening in, however. We could have learned what they were talking about just before Dr. Sykes was killed. Now then, what happened after that?
Hold it.
I don't want to delve too deeply here, but could you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at this moment? Mommy Mattis was very surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound. Her heart? Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found in the robotics lab? These robots have a heartbeat detection system. Now that you mention it, I do remember reading something like that. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. Well, wait a minute. That means if Dr. Sykes really did die at this moment... Ponko, how was Dr. Sykes after she fell down? Could you still hear the sound of her heartbeat? Let's see. The moment she fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I started recharging just then. Of all the unlucky timing, if you had heard anything after that, it could have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder. I'm very sorry. I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry. The robot is designed to go into sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. But it does appear it detected an increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing. After Mommy Metis's heart started pounding in surprise, she flew by the window. It was the round window on the workbench side of the room. Which one's that? So that one? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So it would have to be that one. Alright. The workbench, huh? Why'd they take the things off? Like, what? Why? Why'd they take the things off of them? Like, they don't have those designs on the windows anymore. Ponko must be talking about the table to the right of where the giant robot is now. There's something critical in Ponko's statement just now? I mean, if I'm right, there is, because I don't believe the, because that's on the opposite side of the room, if that's the case. So how the fuck did she end up on the opposite side of the damn room? Your Honor, I believe this statement is critical. I'd like to add it to her testimony. Very well. Ponko, could you please add that statement to your testimony? That's a good little girl. I don't like that I had to say that. Not as the judge of all people.
Hold it!
We know too much about the judge already. We don't need to know about his kings. As I've said before, we do not king shame in this stream, unless it is absolutely illegal. But we don't need to know about the judge's kings. Let's see. There are 2 round windows in the robotics lab. Which one did you mean? The one on the right, near the hanging scroll. The hanging scroll was Mommy Metis's prized possession. Okay, and the pictures of the crime scene from 7 years ago. There is definitely a hanging scroll and a Japanese theater mask hanging on the workbench side wall. Was there some problem with this statement? Might as well press her on everything first. Prosecutor Blackwell? I wonder what he went there for. His objective? I don't know. I don't know. I guess I can't very well ask Ponko to speculate. So what happened after Prosecutor Blackwell arrived? Whew. Not gonna lie, I think that sneeze woke me up a bit. Whew. Just exactly one new player to your sleeper team. Been AJ Barner. That's a good pickup. That's a good pickup. Now my question is, Jared, was he the right pick at that spot? Because did you follow the consensus board? Because if you took a tight end too early, they're gonna kill you on the internet. I'm just saying. You can't take a tight end too early nowadays. If you took him too early, it didn't follow the consensus board, so it was a god-awful pick, and you're the worst GM ever, and you should be absolutely fired. Just saying. But that doesn't matter. The consensus board matters, Jaron. It's all about the consensus board. That's all that matters in life. Death, taxes, and follow the consensus board.
Hold it!
You don't remember what happened next? An error, huh? I wonder if all data is suddenly cut off at that point. I don't know anything after that. Oh, Kuiper's 10 Commandments. More like GM Twitter's 10 Commandments. The answer to the question is right here. According to the defense's theory, this photo shows when the robot was being taken apart. Exactly. We can conclude that Honko's error was the result of being dismantled. Indeed. The bodies of these robots are designed to be controlled remotely by a separate computer. Yes, that's basically what Miss Blackwell's explained to us too. She said their hearts and memories are stored on a separate computer. When the witness was taken apart, she lost the use of her body, but not her memories. That's how she is now still able to give testimony about the events of that day. Fascinating. It's as if she can be seriously wounded, but her soul still burns. Even through these darkest days, this fire burns. Always. Didn't realize the judge was a big 3-day or kill switch engage guy. There are a few parts of Ponko's testimony that are hard to interpret. Edgeworth chose to interpret hugged as stabbed, but I'd better try to iron out who did what, where, and to whom for myself. Hold on, Athena. I'm gonna save you. Oh no, the second I read that, the only thing going through my head was the lyrics immediately. I mean, the Jags started that tight end run, and it was apparently because they heard the run was about to start, and then the Jags started it, and everybody went like, "Oh my God, we got to get a tight end!" And apparently he was gonna go in like 10 picks if they didn't take him. So was that one? No, it was this one.
Objection!
Ponko, your statement may have just inspired a breakthrough. I was helpful. Hooray! I am so happy. Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell near the window on the workbench side of the room. However, her body was discovered on the operating table. But the operating table and the workbench are two different locations. They're like on the opposite side of that room, and it seems very large. I've never been there, though. Exactly, Your Honor. We've just learned a new crucial fact. What could explain the two very different locations of the body? I'll tell you what. I tell you what. The defendant moved the body. I mean, one, I don't think Athena's gonna move her mom, mainly because I don't think she's got that kind of strength. So I'm gonna say the victim moved. If Athena moved the body, that's crazy. An 11-year-old girl couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult. So the only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Ponko observed near the workbench couldn't possibly have been the moment of the murder. Mic drop. I am very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of little Ponko here. That would have killed me inside, and I don't know if I would have been able to take that. Yes, as we just heard in the testimony, Miss Sykes hugged her mother. Nothing more.
Objection!
Right. It's been 8 years and you're still just as green as ever. Green? But I can't recall ever seeing Mr. Wright in anything but a blue suit. When the fuck was he ever green? Hey, blue's my favorite color. What can I say? Good color choice there, Phoenix. Blue's a good color. I do say so myself. If the defendant couldn't move the body herself, she would have had it moved for her. Moved for her? But Miss Sykes and Dr. Sykes were the only ones there. I agree, since this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection system. It would have been aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there. We can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only ones present. Then who do you suggest moved the body? I don't think you can say that, dude. Say that due to your win-loss record against him. Feel like the New York Jets talking shit against the Patriots and Bills. Yeah, that win-loss record against Phoenix ain't pretty. Don't you know it's in the nature of a robot to help people do things? Miss Ponko, allow me to ask you a question. My name is Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko. I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large onto the operating table? Yes, I did. Athena asked me to. Athena asked you to? And what did you move, little Ponko? I don't know. Unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is. An ID tag, you say? Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. We robots scan them to tell us what a thing is. That paper in the lab did mention something about that. Recognizes people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform jacket ID tag, it said. So it would appear that Miss Ponko here can't identify what it moved. My name is Ponko! But we humans have the power to imagine what it was, do we not? We do? Well, I do, at the very least. Miss Ponko, on the defendant's command, moved the body onto the operating table. Ah! Ponko, did you really move Dr. Sykes' body? This is really important. Isn't there any way you could isn't there any way you could tell? I don't know. Without an ID tag, I can't tell. I'm having a panic attack. A robo-panic attack. Give it up, Wright. If the victim's heart was stopped, the robot's detection system would be useless. Furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. She kept the jacket with her ID tag on it draped over a chair in the robotics lab, and only wore it for special occasions. In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. March Madness is officially 76 teams. That's too many teams, man. That's too many teams. That is insanity, man. 64 teams was enough. 76 is absurd. I mean, the only positive to that is if you're a betting man, it means more betting you can do. That's all it really means. Oh shit! Hey! We might be getting refs. No replacement refs. Hopefully. Nobody wants replacement refs. From the robot's point of view, her body was simply just another object. But Ponko is equipped with a facial recognition system. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes. But she didn't, so that means a face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else for that matter. With her facial features hidden, the robot wouldn't be able to tell it was Dr. Sykes. He's right. To summarize, Miss Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench. Then, using the robot, she moved the body to the table where she removed the sword and was stained in blood. And I thank you. Order! But if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place? You want a reason. Very well. What? You can't possibly have an explanation. Your emotions blind you to the truth. You could learn a lot from our robot friends. Calm and rational thought will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, Mr. Wright. Now then, do you remember the operating table's one special feature? I believe I read the robots can be assembled and disassembled there. Isn't that right? That's right. And the defendant was just a child at the time. The table was like a magic box that could make robots appear or disappear in seconds. I just want to say this much. Is Edgeworth's argument, is his explanation for why she's on the operating table, Athena, as a child, thought the machine would disassemble her own mother? Is that what I'm getting from Edgeworth's argument here? I just want to make sure I'm right on this. I want to make sure I'm understanding this properly. An 11-year-old girl was sitting there after she had stabbed her mother, according to Edgeworth, and was like, I'll just make her go poof by putting her in the fancy machine that makes robots magically happen. What on earth? Oh, that's the argument. Never mind. That's the argument. It would fix her. That's the argument. That makes more sense. That makes more sense. You can't possibly be suggesting this young, sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing robots from people. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that. No way. I refuse to believe it. Miss Sykes made a childish, naive, and cruel mistake. She thought that if a robot could be dismantled and vanish without a trace... Prosecutor Edgeworth! If you're about to claim what I think you are, I'm about to vomit immediately all over this courtroom, and it is going to smell bad. I had sushi for lunch, and it was gas station sushi. I was in a rush. I demand that you word it as delicately as you can. I warn you again. Gas station sushi. With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table...
Hold it!
No! Don't say another word. Just stop. Get some help. Was to dismantle the evidence so that she could get away with her crime. That can't be true! Order! Order in the court! Order in the court, I say! Edgeworth, she was just a little kid. How can you say such a horrible thing? Horrible. Like I said, you're just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth. Nothing more, or no more, no less. My theory is simply the result of a rational consideration of every possibility.
Objection!
But dismantling isn't the table's only function. It can make repairs as well. It's conceivable that Miss Sykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her. I suppose that could be another way of interpreting it. But dismantle or repair, it doesn't matter either way. What do you mean? After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have come to her senses. Perhaps she did want to make it appear as if it had never happened. And that's why she tried to repair her mother. Yes, that's one possible explanation. But we mustn't forget the facts of this case. The victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant. And the body was moved per the defendant's command. These two facts that indicate the defendant's guilt, remain unchanged. This just can't be true. Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim? Evidence? Right. Let's see. I can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence. Since becoming chief prosecutor, I've learned that the truth isn't always pretty. Now, accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother. Your Honor, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages suffered enough. What a terrible and tragic conclusion. If the defense has no counter-argument, I see no need to further prolong this trial. Edward's argument seems solid enough, but there's no way Athena could have done anything like that. What do I do? There has to be something. But I can't think of a single thing. Prosecutor Blackquill! This is quite the farce you are conducting here.
I could die from laughter.
Prosecutor Blackquill, what are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that your argument is based on an entirely false premise.
Go on. We're listening. Could this be the miracle I need? But what is Prosecutor Blackwell trying to pull here?
"7 years. For 7 long years. This case has been on my mind. Not for an instant did I not think of it. I'm the one who killed my mentor, and don't think you can alter that fact now. Your boldness I will take to the stand, and I won't take no for an answer."
Of course, Prosecutor Blackquill. Please, go ahead. Let him do it. He'll kill me otherwise. He doesn't have his shackles on.
I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. But when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then I committed the act. How cathartic it was.
But little Ponko here witnessed the victim falling. In other words,
I don't need any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened.
which would be...
She fell means she fell. Merely that. A mother and child fooling around. Perhaps she tripped. Not that it matters. When I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes to be seen. There was no dead body either. Of course, meaning she must have left the room.
So the murder occurred after the time period Ponko described in her testimony.
You should hardly take stock in the words of a wind-up toy.
Objection!
I will say, him calling the robot a wind-up toy is good. I like that. Then how do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something?
Athena was always tinkering with robots on the operating table to amuse herself. And she always had Ponko move the heavy ones for her. That day was no different. Ponko moved a heavy robot for Athena.
This is awful. What he's saying seems to make sense. And yet...
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackquill, are you trying, even now, to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize we could bring the dark age of the law to a close today?
Objection!
You expect too much from me. I'm just a murderer, beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go so I can settle down to hell?
Prosecutor Blackwell's execution is tomorrow. If the truth doesn't come out now, it's all over. Okay, let me see if I get this straight. Are you saying that the little girl in the robot had nothing to do with the murder.
That's right. So let's hear your verdict. If we don't hurry, I might miss the ferry across the river Styx, and I hear they're playing Renegade.
I imagine he's getting ready for his execution. He's walking down, he's walking with the officers on his way there, and all you hear is, "Oh mama, I've been a life from the long arm of the law." All the other inmates are looking at him while he's going by. Hangman is hung down from the gallows, and I don't have very long. Don't you dare judge. Don't forget I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for her? Miss Blackwell?
Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this for me. But you agreed to this trial. If you have a counter-argument, then present your evidence. That's the rule of the courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor?
Blackwell, you selfish. Well, to be frank, and that's not my real name, I don't like this. But it's my duty to make a decision. If no one has a counter-argument, I will announce my verdict. Is this really happening? Is it really going to end just like it did 7 years ago? Whew. Had to fight off a burp. I can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Who's making an argument now? Fucking Athena's here now, guys. Everybody's here. We're only missing one person. Where's fucking Apollo? Oh yeah, he's not gonna be here, man. Royal Rumble, the trial. That's what it feels like. Welcome to the greatest Royal Rumble. I'm just waiting for Apollo to show up, but I know he's not going to because he's busy. He's busy dealing with the hostage situation, which is totally him actually dealing with the hostage situation and not just trying to rizz up Aura the entire time. This man's literally Aura farming, if you catch my drift. Nah, he's gonna come in like Mr. Money in the Bank and save this trial. Would not be surprised. Would not be surprised. Athena? What are you... Are you feeling okay? I can hear it. I can hear the voice of his heart. He's hiding something. If he really is, I could sure use Athena's help here. Her power might be just the thing to get us through this.
Objection!
Sykes, Stono. No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you're innocent.
Objection!
These past 7 years, they've been just as hard on me, you know?
What are you talking about?
Do you remember that horrible, horrible trial? Please, you have to listen to me. This is 11-year-old Athena, so I don't know what to do. That's gonna be the voice I go with. He didn't kill her. His heart is screaming that he didn't kill her. Even now, every time I stand in a courtroom, it comes back to haunt me. I forgot about that guy. Not being heard no matter how hard you try. Feeling so helpless. Taking on a dude with weird ass hair. And also the statue from Solo Leveling. Caught in people's stares. So scared that it feels like your chest is in a vice. I'm terrified of courtrooms. I want to run out of the door even now. And yet, you found a way to keep your fears at bay and become a lawyer. You know what Athena says. Don't give up. She follows the 3 rules of life: hustle, loyalty, and respect. This day has finally come. The day I've been looking forward to with all of my heart. This is why I became a lawyer. This is why I studied psychology. It was all to save you from this false conviction. But Miss Sykes, do you realize what it would mean? You are the accused after all. If you prove Prosecutor Blackwell innocent, then... The only thing that matters is the truth. It's my duty to find out what the truth is. Simon, please give me this chance. The chance to shake off this fear that's been with me for 7 years and face the truth. Athena is being so brave, confronting her past like this. This might really be the last chance to save them both. Prosecutor Blackwell, please testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago.
Fine. But your efforts will surely be in vain. For I am not a man who can be cut down easily.
Here we go, Simon. Let me hear the voice of your heart. Cue the Sailor Moon transformation. Okay. He seemed very happy to see Athena. I love the drawing of Athena with, like, the headphones on, and she's got no face. And also, from this angle, Blackwell looks like Adam Gontier from 3 Days Grace, back when he had, like, the true emo hair. Yeah, culture release Kenny Moore, not really the biggest shock. He seems very happy. Like, he's very happy about everything except for... Like, he's very mad here, which, you know, makes sense to me. He seems very mad here. Oh, they released Nasir Adderley? Didn't they just recently sign him? Or did they sign him last year? I feel like this is the weird one. He's really happy while he's waiting. Here, I'm gonna save real quick. It's either this one or this one. He signed in February. That's weird that they got rid of him already. Have they started minicamp? Alright, so it's not that one. That's weird that they just randomly cut him. Okay, so was the happiness here? This feeling of happiness. Even though the person you were looking for wasn't there, you felt happy. Why is that?
Simple. When I was looking for Athena and hadn't found her yet, I grew worried. So when I saw her in the robotics lab, I was happily relieved. Merrily that, or merely that.
Just now, you said that you went to the Space Center to kill Dr. Sykes. But the first thing you did was look for her daughter instead.
I had no intention of harming Athena, so I wanted to confirm that she was safe first. It was just a part of my plan. Nothing contradictory about that.
God. The second I find an inconsistency, he cuts it down. Simon knows the principles of analytic psychology. There's less noise now, but I don't see any instabilities we can latch onto. I was afraid of that. Haven't even had their rookie minicamp yet. That's tomorrow. That's weird that they cut Adderley before that. So weird they cut him before that. Kenny Moore makes sense because Kenny Moore wanted out. But Nasir Adderley, that's just weird. We'll just have to keep chipping away at him then. Bit by bit. Could you update his testimony, Athena? You got it, boss. Ah-ha-ha! You were upset, my good sir. Why were you sad? If it was cathartic? Not even you can falsify your emotions, Prosecutor Blackwell. You may be an emo kid, nonconforming as can be. You'd be nonconforming too if you look just like me.
What?
Exactly. When you said that you killed Dr. Sykes in your testimony, you felt sadness. Why would someone who had lain in wait to kill her be sad at her death?
Such an obvious attack. Yes, I felt sadness, but it wasn't for her. I felt sorrow for Athena and her circumstances.
He can't be talking about that, can he? Yeah, that's a poor read on my part.
My objective was to save Athena.
Your dog is watching your computer. It's funny. Yeah, is your dog enjoying the show? That's my question. Do I have dog viewership now that's getting positive ratings? Laying on your leg and just watching the computer? Fuck yeah, I'm getting dog ratings now. This best thing that's ever happened to me, streaming or YouTube wise. Best thing. Dog ratings.
From an obsessive scientist who treated her own daughter like a research subject.
What?
I went to the psychology lab first. That's where I would usually find Athena playing. But that day was different. I heard someone crying in the robotics lab next door. Was Athena being subjected to yet another experiment? I thought as I went to see. Conveniently, Athena had cried herself to sleep, so all I had to do was wait and kill.
So that's why he was relieved when he saw Athena. But is this story really true? I'm not sure how much to believe. Mr. Wright? How are you doing, Athena? Still hanging in there? Rams versus Niners in Australia is going to be on Netflix. As long as it runs well, we're all good. I'm a lot stronger than I look, boss. Now, take a look at this. The noise level actually increased. The fuck? It went up. I've never seen it do that before. Prosecutor Blackwell is lying somewhere in his testimony. As a matter of fact, he's piling lie on top of lie in an attempt to make his claim sound more believable. He's trying even harder to suppress his true feelings, and that's what's causing the noise. How in the world should I approach this? An evidence-based approach might work if I can find a contradiction. Otherwise, I should look for an inconsistency in his emotions.
There are no flaws in my testimony, and his baldness is prepared to give his verdict.
Anti-Chinese ship. Saudi Arabia and Kuwait have lifted restrictions of U.S. use of their bases. Ooh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Who's ready for more war that should never start in the first place? Yay! Thank God I don't drive, because man, I would not be able to afford gas.
give up on this lost cause and let the law free me of these chains already.
Objection!
I don't think so. Not while I'm around. Yeah, on my walk earlier, I passed by 7-Eleven. It was 4:39 here. It's 4:39. So yeah. That's expensive as fuck, man. I like that Phoenix is just there. No one's gonna harm you, not while I'm around. We won't let the law kill you, not while I'm around. So high they turned off the gas signs to tell you the price. Oh, damn. That just seems like lying. Now, contradictory testimony or inconsistent emotions. Which should I tackle first? Woo. Not lying, just hiding the truth. Somebody call Phoenix Wright. We need him to showcase the truth of these gas prices. Let's start with the emotions. Okay, let's look for inconsistent emotions. Got it, boss. But if you want to try looking for a contradictory statement instead, just let me know. I can easily switch over. Alright.
Got it!
May not be that. Yeah. The emotion ones, I'm always like, that emotion doesn't make sense to me. However, I'm a person who has different emotions. So, you know, him being that surprised that she came in really doesn't click to me. Just saying, because I would think he was expecting that to happen to some degree, you know?
Got it!
Okay, that was it. I was iffy on which one it was, solely because I'm like, well, you know it's her. Why are you so dumbfounded? How odd. Why would you register surprise at opening the door to the lab?
Alright, fine. I'll explain, if I must. What surprised me was Ponko. That toy figure attacked me. Dr. Sykes knew full well of my plan to rescue Athena, but she couldn't stand guard over her daughter 24 hours a day.
So Dr. Sykes had Ponko do it.
That's right. She ordered Ponko to forcibly remove me on sight. So I slashed Pongo up with the katana that was there in the lab. That rickety old puppet wasn't worthy of that fine blade.
Mr. Wright, it's happening again. There's even more noise now. Bruh, quit your bullshitting. This man's got bullshit on top of bullshit on top of bullshit that's on top of some bullshit. It's at 100% now? What's going on here? Whenever we find an opening, he covers it up with lies. We'll never get rid of the noise at this rate. It's pretty hard to keep telling coherent lies like that. His mind and will really are as sharp and strong as a katana. Alright, what should I tackle this time? Well, let's go testimony. I think there might be an inconsistency in Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Alright, let's give it a thorough check then. I have finished my coffee and it's really hitting me that I finished my coffee. Yeah, timeline-wise, this wouldn't make sense. Because there's a blood stain on the arm.
Objection!
Compounding lies with more lies is never the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Take a look at this photograph. Every time I do not laugh. That's the photo of the supposed moment of the murder, isn't it?
How many more times must I see that witch damned me for my sin?
The ironic thing is, I think this picture is actually going to be your savior now. See the blood stain at the end of Ponko's arm, where it was severed with the katana? I hope you aren't claiming it's the robot's blood, Mr. Wright. 'Cause last I checked, robots don't bleed. I mean, I heard Ben Affleck say this one time in a movie. He was like, he went up to Superman. You know, Superman, he's like a god, essentially. He went up to him and he was like, "Do you bleed?" Yeah, you better not be doing one of those. No. Most likely, the blood was transferred there from the bloody katana. The katana already had blood on it? So then, it must have been the victim's blood. That's right. But if that's the case, we found a glaring inconsistency. You said in your testimony that you cut up Ponko and then you killed Dr. Sykes. But in spite of that, the victim's blood is already on Ponko's arm in this picture. What? But that couldn't be! Exactly. In order for the blood to have transferred from the sword to Ponko's arm, the victim must have been stabbed first, before the robot was slashed. In other words, Prosecutor Blackwell, Your entire testimony is nothing but one giant ball of lies. Goodness gracious, great balls of lies. Tell the court the truth, Prosecutor Blackwell. Now.
You have no idea what you're doing.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. It's a terrible pay-per-view. And his voice. There's so much discord. I'm not talking the service that you can have groups in. I'm hearing not just one or two, but a bunch of rampaging emotions here. It's hard to describe. It's like a violent whirlpool or something. It's almost like he's a serial killer. Or really emotional.
Phoenix Wright, you will pay for this. Never have I been forced to reveal so much. The rest I'll take to my grave.
Prosecutor Blackwell, you are on the witness stand. You are obligated to tell the truth. Isn't that the rule of the courtroom? All of these complex emotions, they seem to be flowing from one source. I think whatever he really saw that day is what's causing these feelings. Uh-oh. System overload. Well, I mean, that doesn't tell us much. Guess that's not it then. What could have caused Blackwell to react with all of these emotions all at once? I mean, it's gotta be this one, right? Because we have no answer. Oh. When you opened the door and saw Athena, you became overwhelmed by your emotions. Isn't that right, prosecutor?
You should know better. And though it's pathetic, I admit I'm terrified to speak of it.
Prosecutor Blackwell, Miss Sykes is innocent. I will always believe that with all my heart. Now, can't you find it within yourself to believe in me too?
Athena is innocent, huh? Can you honestly say you believe that to be true, right, Dono?
I give you my word. Now tell me what you really saw when you opened that door.
Curse you, Phoenix Wright!
Oh, what happened on that fateful night?
It was a tragedy. One I'll never forget. When I arrived at the lab, Dr. Sykes was already dead. She was lying on the operating table, while the bloody katana lay on the floor. And standing between the two, covered in blood, was Athena. She smiled with a far-off look in her eyes as she sweetly said,
Can we just agree that this is giving off this image right here is giving off real nay energy, right? Right? We agree with that? We all in agreement that this gives off real nay energy? That's what I'm feeling. I feel like she got possessed by a robot. That's what I feel like happened. It's giving off real, like, Nay slash Junko vibes. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting. Yeah, she's just smiling at him. She looks up, and all you get from her is just, Danganronpa. And then the track just starts. Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her. Hmm. Yeah, Phoenix, I don't know how the fuck we're winning this one.
"That's what I saw, and now you have it. The truth that you so desperately wanted."
No. Prosecutor Blackwell finally tells the truth. And this is what it is? It's beyond devastating. I tried to take my mother apart. I, I. She's breaking. No! So it was me. I'm the one who killed my mother. Athena.
As I said, Wright, the truth isn't always pretty. Murder, disassembly on an operating table. A scientist using her daughter as a guinea pig. Sadly, it appears that my theory was correct after all.
Objection!
It's true that Athena didn't like her mother's research, but You dare cast aspersions on my mentor by claiming Athena was used in such a manner? Dr. Sykes could be awkward with people, but she loved her daughter with all her heart.
She loved me?
Your mother hated to see you suffer because you could hear the voices of people's hearts. You heard voices in your head. They talked to you. They understand. They talk to you. She wanted to set you free of your pain, so she worked tirelessly on her research. Do you remember those headphones you hated so much?
Do you remember those headphones that you hated? Yes, my head hurt every time I wore them.
No, Athena. It's just the opposite. They emitted sound waves to nullify emotional input from the voices of people around you. Your power was much stronger than than it is now. And those headphones were what enabled you to carry on with everyday life.
No, that can't be true. Then why would I have done something like that to somebody who loved me so much?
Her love for you was real. That I can guarantee. That's why I knew that what happened had to be some kind of mistake. I couldn't let you be punished for it. So you took the blame yourself. You and your mentor are more alike than you know. Ponko was a witness, so I put it in the case, held Athena close, and vacated the lab. I threw Ponko away in the boarding lounge trash chute, and I hid the case on the Space Center grounds. Twould seem that we now have all of the facts of this case.
No, not yet. It can't end like this.
Objection!
Do not disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. The truth has been revealed.
Athena could hear voices of people's hearts and couldn't turn it off, so she resorted to headphones? This is just Code Geass. I never watched Code Geass, so I have no idea. I never did watch Code Geass. But I'll take your word for it, Jared. But according to the game, that's what happened.
Or are you the type of man to turn your back to things that disagree with you?
I'm not. But this, I can't give up now. I have to say something. Anything. Even if it's a bluff. I've always managed to pull through that way in the past. I have to make it work. The defense is, prepared to present evidence. Mr. Wright. Yes, Athena? It's okay. You can stop now. I don't want you or anyone else to suffer any longer for my sake. Athena, what are you saying? I killed my mother. That's the truth. This character in Code Geass who had the ability to hear people's thoughts but couldn't turn it off. So to limit the voices, he wore headphones. Yep, he's just Athena. Yep. He's just Athena. That's what we're getting at. It's just like Prosecutor Edgeworth said. We have to face it, no matter how much it hurts. I admit my guilt. Oh fuck. She's taking a plea of guilty. I mean, it sounds like she became another psycho. She killed her mom. And tried to put her back, tried to fix her. Keep in mind. Oh, so he just became an incel. Because let's be real, Jaren. That's just what it is. That's just a male yandere. But could I please be granted just one chance to tell everyone what I recall? It appears Miss Sykes is much braver than you, Mr. Wright. What say you, Your Honor? In light of her courage, will the court give Miss Sykes this opportunity to confess? Very well. Then if you would, please take the stand, Miss Sykes. I don't want to say you're right, but I can't say you're wrong. Yep. That's normally how it is nowadays. You can't say anybody's right, but you can't say they're wrong. Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Edgeworth. And thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackwell, for letting the truth be known. Now we can finally move forward, and everyone's suffering can come to an end. Athena! Prosecutor Blackwell will be cleared and the dark age of law can come to an end. Yes, admit your guilt and bring everything to its conclusion. I killed my mother. My memory is still a little hazy. There's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. Your Honor, please find me guilty. I dare say, these are all memories that no one, the murderer, would have. I see. Thank you for your confession. I believe this trial has gone on long enough. But before we conclude, does anyone have a counter-argument?
Objection!
Oh, I thought that was somebody else for a second. I do, Your Honor. Mr. Wright. But, Mr. Wright, why? I killed her. I remember it now. Any counter-argument now is pointless.
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Always believe in the client to the bitter end. Athena, you are not a murderer.
Objection!
I said that you never change, but could you have actually regressed in these 8 years? I won't stand for your childish emotionalism getting in the way of the truth. Emotionalism? Don't lecture me on matters of the heart, Edgeworth. Because I see straight into a person's soul. Oh shit! Oh yeah, Pearls did all the research on those black psyche locks. there's still a chance, somewhere deep in Athena's heart, there might still be a memory that not even she knows. Ooh. There might still be a memory that not even she knows about yet. It might be looking for a grain. It might be like looking for a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos, but still, that memory might contain a few new facts that could prove her innocence. I hope for everyone's sake that you are not just bluffing, Mr. Wright. Now then, is there or is there not a problem with Miss Sykes' confession? I think I know what the problem is. I will check the court record real quick. There's definitely something wrong with her memory of the event. I can just tell. There is a problem with her confession. Please prove it to the court now.
Take that!
Isn't that the katana the defendant used to kill the victim, Mr. Wright? I respectively and vehemently disagree, Your Honor. But I remember it. I remember holding the weapon and getting blood on my fingers. That's exactly my point. If blood really did get on your fingers while you were holding it, there should be blood on the handle. But please focus on the handle of this sword. There's not a trace of blood on it. And therefore, this is clearly a contradiction of the facts. You're right. Oh my!
Objection!
He just turned into George Takei. Oh my! There we go. The defendant must have simply confused a portion of her memories. She mentioned it was hazy to begin with, and we can't mull over every minor detail.
Objection!
But she also said there's no question I remember it, a fact we can't ignore. In that case, why don't you explain what this contradiction with her memories means? Gladly. Just give me a sec to think of something. I want to say that Athena didn't stab anyone, but she said it herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, Phoenix. Think! What could the contradiction with Athena's memories mean? I think the defendant used a different weapon. Miss Sykes said blood flowed down the handle, but the katana's handle is spotless. So it doesn't follow that the defendant must have used a weapon other than the katana. What are you up to this time? This is it. This time, I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Dr. Sykes' life was the katana. That much is for sure. So if I can show a possibility that Athena didn't use the katana, it could help me prove her innocent. A different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be, exactly? Right. Of course he would ask that. I can see you're floundering, Mr. Wright. Did you speak without thinking again? As always? How does he do that? But I can't back down. Not here. Not now. That's right. I did. Because it's so obvious. It doesn't require any thought. What did you say? Okay, so maybe that was an exaggeration. But there has to be something. Was there some other bladed weapon in the robotics lab that day? Maybe there's something in one of the crime scene photos. Wait a minute. There is something. There's a high probability that that was in the lab. I don't have that particular weapon here in evidence right now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. Okay. I've got an idea of what it is. I think I'm right. I'm not sure, though. Other than the katana, there is another blade that may have been at the crime scene. As always, we save.
Take that!
But that's the murder weapon in the Clay Tehran case. Yes, this is the knife that took Mr. Tehran's life. But there must have been a knife just like this at the scene 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this one, are issued to Space Center employees. And a robotics lab, especially, would naturally have one of these around.
Objection!
But, besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the scene. It was in the investigation report, if you didn't know.
Objection!
Of course I knew that. Once you told me just now. Then here's something else you already knew. There was a toolkit at the scene, but it didn't contain any blades. Here's a photo of its contents. You're right. I don't see any kind of bladed tool. Fine, but isn't there something odd about the design of these handles? Therefore, there was no other bladed weapon in the room.
Objection!
I disagree. This toolkit contained a knife. And what proof do you have of that? Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You are the last person in the world who should be criticizing my aesthetic sense. Now, he is simply watching out for your ocular health. Please proceed, Mr. Wright, and you should get your eyes checked. Professor, or Prosecutor Edgeworth, I'm just saying you should get that done. I did the other day, and I have 20/20 vision, they say. Notice that the handles of each of these tools have a sort of design on them. Ah, I see that they do, but what significance does that have? It's clear that one of the tools is missing from this kit. How dare you call BS on the judge? He would never lie. If we rearrange the tools into a specific pattern, we might be able to tell which part of the overall design is missing. Is that the theory your pitiful sense of aesthetics helped you come up with? Edgeworth, just let it go, man. Show the court, then, if you would. What pattern or design would we see if we were to arrange the tools?
Take that!
And what design is this supposed to represent? The Gaiaxa logo, Your Honor. It's on all of the Space Center's documents and pamphlets. As you're aware, Gaiaxa is the program that operates the Cosmos Space Center. Whew. Ah, I think I see it now. But yes, with just the tools shown in this photo, the red A part of the logo is missing. And this is where the murder weapon from the Tellin case comes into play. If we were to place the utility knife in the open slot, it would complete the Gaiaxa logo. So it would! That means... Admit it, Mr. Edgeworth. My aesthetic sense is keener than yours. And while you're at it, admit that the weapon Miss Sykes used could have been this one. Order! Order in the court! Miss Sykes confessed to having a memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes most likely did stab someone, using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Sykes remembers couldn't be that of Dr. Sykes. Very well. Let's suppose for a minute that Miss Sykes did use the utility knife. Tell me, how does that change anything? Come again? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was the utility knife? Don't be ridiculous! Or are you changing the premise of your entire argument? I'm merely offering up a hypothetical situation derived from your logic. Miss Sykes could have put blood on the katana to make it look like the murder weapon, and then concealed the knife on her personage until Blackwell carried her away. That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memories and the evidence. If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand. For you have just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own logic.
Objection!
The prosecution is attempting to lead the court.
Objection!
You're the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of this case. Need I remind you, there were only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with her own hands? No. It matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife, as long as we know that the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother. I don't believe it. Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if... Now you're finally starting to get it. Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true. And the suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix Wright, when will you open your eyes and accept the truth? I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. But what if... Miss Wright, you fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do. Is giving up really the only option? No. Snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you? Giving in to doubt? I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. No, Your Honor, not yet. It isn't over yet. Right. I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I'll always believe in her. To the very end. A defense lawyer never gives up on his client. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case thoroughly. I concede the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with the utility knife. This must have been what Ponko witnessed as Athena's hug. But Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. This means that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. Who could have taken the utility knife from the lab? I mean, the clear-cut obvious one is Athena. She did run in front of the window. I'm gonna say Athena, just see what happens. But that's the prosecution's claim. And of course, Athena didn't take the knife with her. What kind of lawyer doubts his own client? This one intrigues me because I could see it. I could see it. I don't think that's it, but I could see it. Go someone else. third person was at the scene. If I trust in Athena, then I have to conclude there was a third person at the scene. But according to Ponko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only two there. So then, how did this third person manage to escape Ponko's detection? I know. This person must have fooled Ponko's facial recognition feature by covering their own face. But wait a minute. Ponko has a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Ponko would have still detected their presence. But she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait. That's it. The culprit could have covered their face and posed as which person to avoid detection. If the culprit posed as the victim, that would explain why Ponko thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Ponko's basic recognition features. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. Her jacket. I was waiting for that, because I had figured that one out. Good old bots. It's not a good stream without a bot, is it? Technically, we already had one. They were on the witness stand. The culprit could have posed as the victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag on it. But that still leaves the heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It wouldn't have worked if Ponko could detect the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. So does that mean that the real Dr. Sykes was already dead by that time? If that's the case, then who did Athena stab? The real culprit. That's it. The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her. The real culprit. I will say, I have my suspicions of who the real culprit is, and if so, it makes total sense. And it's not even for the fact that it makes sense that they're the murderer, it just makes sense that they would be a villain. Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let us bring this to a swift end. Please, give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to hostage negotiations. It's that theory. I don't want to say it solely because if I say my theory, it's very evident who I think it is, because it just makes sense because of, okay, here, I'll just go with it. I think it's Aura solely for the fact that it would make sense that at one point we see Aura trying to rizz up Apollo, and Phoenix fell for fucking Dahlia, aka Delilah, around these parts. We know her as Delilah. But, Phoenix fell for her. She was evil. It would only make sense that fucking Apollo's getting rizzed up by the villain. It would only make sense. That's my theory. Around these parts, her name's Delilah, not Dahlia. You are absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby... I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second. because I realized something so shocking, I had to take a break to digest it. But now, I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent. But Punko saw me. She witnessed the moment of the crime. Yes, Punko did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother. What are you saying, Mr. Wright? The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes. What?
Objection!
And suddenly, you just see the judge immediately turn to his side and start like writing down things, and he's just saying to himself, this is just money right now. This is going in the fanfic, and I am going to make so much bank, as the kids say. Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot's statements, there was no third person there. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab for time?
Objection!
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? Huh. You make that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. Clonco's strange malfunction. That was another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag. All because Clonco couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that eye patch. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask could nullify the robot's facial recognition. And then, all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her.
Objection!
Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because, by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating. What? So does that mean... Yes, Your Honor. The person Miss Sykes stabbed, this third person who was posing as Dr. Sykes, is her mother's real killer. But that's... I'm impossible! A mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask? Order!
Order in the court. Miss Sykes, did you say something?
A mask? Yes! I remember a... Ah! 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 Athena, what is it? Ah! Ah! Do the Peter Griffin ah sound effect. I remember a man with a mask. How could he? What did he do to my mother? My head.
Miss Sykes, are you all right?
No. The Black Psyche locks. They're breaking. Ho 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 ho! Oh yeah. It's all coming back to her now. It's all coming back to me. Everything. I remember everything. They're gone. The Black Psyche locks are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's all right, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day. I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mom. I opened the door, and then... It's all right. I'm right here. You're safe, Athena. She was on the floor, by the workbench, with the katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there. A man? Quiet, Your Honor. Go on, Athena. He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there and... He dodged it first, so I only got his clothes. But I tried again, and then he dipped, dived, dodged, ducked, and dodged again. It was crazy. He knew the 5 Ds of dodgeball. I couldn't believe it. And this time, you got him, didn't you? I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Then he kicked me, and I passed out. Fuck. He fucking kicked her? What'd he do, Spartan kick her? Like, what are we talking here? That's what I want to know. Like, was it a Spartan kick? Was it a fucking punt? Like, what are we talking when we say kick? Did he roundhouse her? Dear Lord. When I came to, my mom wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. Oh. I can't believe I'm about to make this correlation to Phoenix Wright. She had to pull a William Afton. She can put her back together. She had to pull a psychic friend Fredbear. So I asked Ponko to move her to the operating table. I always come back. So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived. A man who covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit. And technically, we don't know it's a man. Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was? No, I'm afraid I don't. A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything else about that? Yes, the mask. It was my mom's Japanese theater mask. I think it was the one hanging on the wall of the lab. Ah, this mask hanging here on the wall. It was kind of spooky, that mask. My mom used to tell me that a no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom. A phantom? It would seem that a new suspect has emerged. And that means that all suspicion against Miss Sykes has... You see, this is exactly why I can't trust the court system. Athena Sykes is the murderer. I won't accept any other verdict. Miss Blackwell. This is not good. A new suspect? Where's the proof this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't all just a dream in the little princess's groggy little head? She's right. We don't have any evidence of the masked man's existence. Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now, because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Athena, I'm so glad for you. More and more memories are coming back now, so I'd like to say one more thing if I could. Ponko came to the robotics lab at around 2 p.m. to recharge. Well, that checks. I see where you're going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise... Right, then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 p.m. Do I have anything here in the evidence? Oops. So, between 1 and 3 p.m. Alright. Can you help me find this person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.? Huh. The only thing I can think of that works here is the fact that the moon rock was stolen.
Take that!
Yep. Oh, yeah. I was very unsure of that one. The moon rock was like one of the only things I could think of.
Take that!
This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident at around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by there before then? I don't see anything in the investigation report. It looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. So if we rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m., we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene. Very well then. Let's take a look. And then all you hear is, because that's always what the rewind sounds like. So it's just there. Please stop it right there. Yeah, it definitely looks like a dude. It's just like you said. There is a man leaving the scene of the crime. Miss Sykes, do you remember this person? That's him. I'm sure of it. He's wearing my mother's jacket. I can feel we're real close to the to be continued and I want to get to it. Can you see it? There's the slash I made with the utility knife that day. I'm sure that knife is under the jacket somewhere. So then, everything Miss Sykes said. Exactly. It proves that Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Miss Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab before 2 p.m. he killed her and hid her face with a handkerchief. Then, he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and mask and were... Let's do that one again. Take two, right? Then, he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and mask that were there in the lab. The culprit probably knew beforehand that Punko charged up at 2 p.m. every day. So he waited for Punko to come to the lab for her regular recharge. By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit tricked Punko into thinking he was Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like she was alive up to that point in time. All to disguise the real time of death. Objection! It's a nice theory, Mr. Wright, but I'm afraid that it's just not possible. What? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in this video. And that right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket at the scene confirms beyond doubt that it belonged to the victim. If the person who left the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket, then how could it possibly have wound up back at the crime scene? What's going on? It doesn't make sense. Edgeworth's right. If the culprit was wearing the jacket, how did it get back to the lab? I don't think the killer brought it back. I don't think they'd go through that much trouble. I'm gonna say the defendant brought it back. Miss Sykes brought the jacket back to the lab. I see. So you're saying Miss Sykes is an accomplice, then?
Objection!
I'll believe in Miss Sykes' complete innocence to the bitter end. With the way things are going, it might very well be a bitter end. For the both of you. Your Honor, please give me another chance. Yeah, let me reload, just so I don't lose anything. So the killer brought it back? The killer used the jacket as a disguise to make his escape, but in order to conceal the fact he had to get the jacket back to the crime scene. So the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradiction resolved.
Objection!
Except that it would have been impossible. The only people who came to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackwell and the people who reported the body. And they claim that the jacket was there when they arrived. So, when do you propose this mysterious man of yours had the chance to return the jacket? Puzzling question indeed. When did the culprit have the chance to bring the jacket back? I'm thinking it's when the body was found? The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket was when the body was found.
Mr. Wright, you do realize the implication of that argument?
I do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focus their attention on the body. The culprit could have taken advantage of that split second to plant the jacket. In other words, the true culprit of this case, the man known as the Phantom, was one of the first people to discover the body. I would have never thought that. That is insanity. Order! Order in the court! What is the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth? The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to collect the Space Probes capsule in preparation for the HAT-1 launch. One of those people had a special bag to transport the capsule in. Oh! You mean the shock-resistant bag? Correct. I suppose if the jacket was in that bag, it could have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing. I'll see to it that you get the reports on those 3 people. You will? You should also check the facial recognition database for that robot. This person felt the need to hide his face with the theater mask. It might mean that his facial data was once registered. Prosecutor Edgeworth, does this mean? I have to admit, I believe Miss Sykes' memories to be credible. You win, Wright. Not that this was ever an official trial anyway. Do my ears deceive me? Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you actually conceding?
Is it true, boss? Does this mean I
can't believe it. It's over. I won. I proved that both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell are innocent. Your Honor, I see no need to further prolong this trial.
Objection!
Hold on, Mr. Wright. Have you forgotten who's in charge of this trial? That's right. I'm the one who's supposed to say, I see no need to further prolong. Not you either, Your Honor. Now, silence. The little princess who was truly beloved by Metis and who repaid the love with death. All these years, hating Athena was the only thing that kept me going. Yeah, he really thought it was all him for a second. But what do I do now? Can anyone tell me? How am I supposed to go on? Miss Blackwell.
How unlike you, Aura. Metis was deeply passionate about her work, and she chose you as her partner. Isn't that?
Shut up, Simon. You know exactly how I felt about her. Her respect as a coworker wasn't all that I wanted. Aura a switch hitter? Would not have expected. You know what? It makes sense. Never. I was gonna say I would not have imagined Aura as a switch hitter, but yeah, no, that makes sense. Then what did you want from her? Did you really just go there, Your Honor?
Aura, There's something I've wanted to say, if you will lend me an ear. I have in my possession a lead on whom Metis's murderer is.
You do?
Right, Dono. You asked me about the identity of the Phantom of 7 years past.
That's right. The Phantom. The person Blackwell has been looking for, even from behind bars.
7 years ago, somebody hatched a plan to sabotage the Hat 1 rocket.
The spy.
But he was no ordinary spy. We knew not about him, his background, appearance. We came to refer to him as the Phantom. At the time, I was working with the police to hunt him down. And then one day, a miracle occurred, and I obtained a lead on him.
Oh, how exciting! What was the lead?
A recording of the Phantom's voice, but the quality was too poor for proper voice analysis. Yet, I had hope. Aura's co-worker was a scientist who could analyze human emotions. So I asked her to evaluate the recording using analytical psychology.
And that scientist was Dr. Sykes.
Yes. A spy's greatest fear is to have his true identity discovered. In addition to Hat 1, Dr. Sykes' results and the recording were surely among his targets. But his search of the Space Center bore no fruit, so he must have started to panic.
He couldn't find them? But where could they have been?
Who is to say?
Wow. I bet he's never let that out of his sight after all these years. How in the world did you smuggle them into prison?
Oh, I have my ways. What's more, my partner is especially talented at that sort of thing.
God, not again!
I work to lure the Phantom in by spreading rumors throughout the underworld. I was even granted permission to prosecute cases to attract the Phantom's attention. Just try to intervene, just try to retrieve your identity, you bloody butcher, became my taunt.
What about the results Dr. Sykes drew up for you? Was there any useful information?
Here, you can see for yourself, but take good care of it. It's all I have left of my mentor.
I will. I'd better hold on to this real tight. The subject's emotions barely fluctuate, and he doesn't experience feelings like normal people do. Relatable. Psychological profile classified. Emotional output of his voice extremely weak compared to typical voices. Subject deemed to have unique psychological makeup with almost no emotional fluctuation. No emotional fluctuation, huh?
A spy who experiences no emotions, not sadness nor anger, and naturally, no fear. He is the very definition of a phantom, a monster with no heart. Don't you see? This creature is the rot that destroyed our lives and set what ails us all into motion.
The Phantom, indeed. A
Fitting name for the one who has brought darkness to our world.
Well then, it seems a faint image of this man has started to take shape. Based on what we have learned, I'd like all of you to conduct further investigation. This is not a formal trial, but I do want to follow protocol. If I may, I'd like to hand down my verdicts and bring these proceedings to an end.
Whatever. Do what you want.
You'll hear no objections from me.
Yes, please, Your Honor. It's over. It's finally over.
Very well. In that case, Prosecutor Blackwell, could you please take the stand? As a result of this trial, your innocence has been proven. The verdict handed down 7 years ago is hereby overturned. And now, the defendant of the current trial, Miss Athena Sykes.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, thank you. Thank you for everything.
Athena, you're more than welcome.
If everyone is ready, I will now give my verdict. You!
Apollo, my eye, no! You were supposed to bring balance to the Force! The Sith's only deal in absolutes, man! Oh my god, it's Apollo! He's got the money in the bank briefcase!
Apollo? What is the meaning of this?
Congratulations, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Edgeworth. You uncovered the truth from 7 years ago, and you saved Prosecutor Blackwell. However, I can't allow this trial to end just yet.
Why, Apollo? Why would you do this to us?
You were supposed to bring balance to the Force! Only a Sith deals in absolutes, man! To be continued. Perfect timing, too. Perfect fucking timing. Well, that woke me the fuck up. So, that's a good thing. And surprisingly, I feel like I had a good day of voice acting. That was one of my better ones. I feel like I got into that. Maybe I need to just do these on little to no sleep and you get the best out of me. But that is going to bring us to the end of this one. I wanted to get to the to be continued so we could jump into the second half of the trial next time out. And we are going to get very close to the end of this whole entire section. We'll still have the DLC to do. So we're not fully done with Dual Destinies just yet, but we'll be done with the main game after this next half of the trial. But what the fuck is going on with Apollo, man? I was not ready for him to come barging in. I'm not gonna lie, I was not ready for that man to come barging in like that. But with that, that is going to bring us to an end of this one. Tomorrow, we'll be back for some more of the Pokemon Black Hardcore Randomized Nuzlocke. Let me get some music going for you guys, just so we got some music to head out to. He's going through his bad guy Sasuke arc, yeah.
Yeah, he's really in his feels right now. But for anybody who knows of my main channel on YouTube, we will be having a stream this weekend for Tex Arcana. More than likely Saturday. But we will be having a stream for that. So, you guys get extra stream this week. Congratulations. Anything else I got to bring up? I don't think so. Oh, since I'm talking YouTube, upload's going to probably be a little late today. Probably around 7, I would assume. 6 to 7 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock today. But, hey, it's the national championship. You can wait for that. Also, very familiar face we're facing that I entirely forgot was on Ohio State. So, you get that as well. But with that, I think that's all I need to bring up. Appreciate you guys being here. Dusk, Jaren, G-Men. Make sure I got everybody who popped in. I think that's everybody who popped in. Yep, I think that's all you guys that popped in. If you're watching after the fact or just chilling in chat, appreciate you guys too. Thank you guys for being here. And I will see you guys next time.